Good morning, students. Today we will discuss about photosynthesis. Last we had discussed that photosynthesis occurs in the mesophyll cells, which lies in between the upper and lower epidermis. Now, during daytime, the light energy is trapped by the chlorophyll, as we have learnt earlier, and mostly it happens on these upper layers of mesophyll cells, which are also known as palisade cells. So in presence of that light energy, carbon dioxide and water is used as the raw material to prepare the food. Now we get the carbon dioxide from the atmosphere through the stomata, and water is absorbed by the roots from the soil. This is the chemical reaction that takes place, where 6 molecules of carbon dioxide reacts with 12 molecules of water in presence of light energy that is captured by the chlorophyll to form 1 molecule of glucose and 6 molecules of water. In that process, 6 molecules of oxygen is liberated. Now, one of the many things that you should memorize or that you should learn from now on, that this 6H2O is not derived from this, is not derived from the water molecules or from the water that is absorbed. These are reformed during a chain of reactions. Now, why it is not formed from this, that we'll learn later. What happens to this, that also we'll know. But remember for now that this does not originate from this. It is reformed later on. Now, photosynthesis has 2 main phases. One phase is light dependent phase. It depends on light. Another is light independent phase. Sometimes it can be known as dark phase, but that does not mean that this step takes place in the dark. Okay? So, light independent phase can take place during daytime also. Light independent phase can take place during daytime also, but it does not require light. Today we will talk about light dependent phase, which is also known as photochemical phase. So, as the name suggests, light has the most essential role in this, the key role in this. So, what happens here is that a series of chemical reactions take place, like chain reactions, but those reactions are initiated by light. That's why this phase is called photochemical phase. Now, while we were talking about in earlier classes, when we were or in this class also, when we talked about chloroplast, we have learned that the thylakoid or the walls of the thylakoid contain chlorophyll. So it's quite obvious that if thylakoids contain chlorophyll, that means light reaction will take place in thylakoid. So that's what happens, that the light reaction, or as we call this light dependent phase, takes place in thylakoids. Now there are 2 main steps that occur here. First is activation of chlorophyll. Second is splitting of water. Now, how does activation of chlorophyll take place? Chlorophyll, due to its presence on the leaf surface, is exposed to light. Now, what happens? They absorb the photons and get activated. So, essentially, photon is nothing but the smallest unit of light energy. So, light energy is activating the chlorophyll. Upon activation, the absorbed water is split into two components. Now this split uses the energy of photons, the energy that is used to activate chlorophyll. That energy, that light energy or energy of 4 photons, are used to split water molecules. The equation looks like this: 2H2O, using the energy of 4 photons, breaks down into 4 hydrogen ions, 4 electrons, and molecular oxygen. Now, as this is breaking down of water, it can be called as lysis. But as it takes place with the help of light, so photo word needs to be there. It is known as photolysis. Okay, so this splitting of water in the light dependent phase of photosynthesis is known as photolysis. And where does it occur? It occurs in the grana of chloroplast. Now you may say that here you mentioned thylakoid, here you are saying grana. What is grana? Grana is nothing but stack of thylakoids. So obviously it will take place in grana. Okay, so now let us see that what happens with these products, these end products of photolysis. Okay, so the hydrogen ion, let us first talk about the hydrogen ion. The hydrogen ion gets picked up by the compound NADP, nicotinamide adenine dinucleotide phosphate. Yes, you have to memorize this name because you are going to get it again and again and again. So NADP, using one of the electrons and hydrogen ion, becomes the reduced form of NADP, that is NADPH. So NADPH is the reduced form of nicotinamide adenine dinucleotide phosphate. So NADP gets reduced. That's the first thing that happens with the hydrogen ion that we get from photolysis. The oxygen component that we get, that is given out as molecular oxygen. Okay, this is the second thing that happens. Next, what happens, this is very interesting, the electrons, you see there are 4 electrons that are released. So these electrons are used in converting ADP to ATP, adenosine diphosphate into adenosine triphosphate. Now how this transfer takes place? By addition of one phosphate group. Now this is inorganic phosphate, not the organic phosphate. Inorganic phosphate means we can assume that this has been supplied by the root when it absorbs the water as well as minerals. Okay, so adenosine diphosphate plus inorganic phosphate becomes ATP. This process, whenever ATP is formed using a phosphate group, or wherever addition of a phosphate group takes place, we call this process as phosphorylation. Now since in this case the energy that is used to form ATP has been derived from light or photons, we call this process as photophosphorylation. Okay, phosphorylation because phosphate addition has taken place and the light energy that has been used is of photons, so photophosphorylation. Similar to this photolysis, lysis is breaking down has taken place but using the light energy, that's why photolysis. So let me do a quick recap. What has happened here? Light energy has been used by the chlorophyll present in the thylakoid first to get activated. So the light energy that is trapped, that is used to split the water into 4 hydrogen ions, 4 electrons and oxygen. The process known as photolysis, and this process is taking place in grana. Okay, grana of chloroplast. Now these components that are formed, they help in carrying out the further processes, which is reduction of nicotinamide adenine dinucleotide phosphate. That takes place, NADPH is formed, oxygen is released as molecular oxygen. The electrons that are released are used to convert ADP to ATP. And as light energy has been used to initiate the process, or light energy is the energy that is used to carry out this process, we call it not just phosphorylation but photophosphorylation. So till this reaction, till this process, we call it the light dependent phase of photosynthesis. Okay, next day we will talk about light independent phase, or also known as dark phase, which is also known as biosynthetic phase. Remember, this phase is also known as photochemical phase, but this phase is known as biosynthetic phase. So that's it for today. Thank you everyone.